Hello my friends, David Kessler here and welcome back to the studio. This is video 3 of a multi-part series where you see me do a painting and go through actually my whole process from color selection to a finished painting in a series of videos. Now I'll put it in a series of videos, multiple videos, because I know you'd be bored to tears if you sat there and watched, you know, a 35 or 45 minute video. You'd be going, oh my gosh, break it up. So that's what we're doing into multiple videos. Just as a reminder, we're using a 30 by 30 canvas. It has gesso applied to it for a little bit of texture. It's a gallery wrapped, 1.5 inch deep, using an analogous color scheme of yellow, green, green, blue, green, and blue. It's going to be predominantly a blue-green painting, right? And it's inspired pretty much by the ocean and the surf. So that's what we're going for. Not trying to make it look like the beach, but just representative, so as you see it, you have this sort of a calming, feeling, right? Well, whether that'll work or not, I don't know, but it's one of a series that I do called Sea Glass, right? And this will be the 11th painting in the series, okay? That's what we are. We're going to use, I showed you in the other videos, we went to the palette, we did the palette. And by the way, I'm going to show the palette in a picture-in-picture, and the palette will be right here. So you'll be able to see the palette while I'm painting too. Right, so you get the best of both worlds there. I'm using golden heavy body acrylic paint. I'm using mostly natural bristle brushes, 2 inch, 2.5 inch, and 3 inch. And I also do have a couple of smaller brushes that I'm going to be using. As part of this series, I use these smaller brushes to help put some other brush work across the surface to animate the surface a little bit. So I'll be using these two. Love those with the long handle. And I also have a little scraping tool that I use to scrape with. It's just an old paint brush that's been cut off on the handle. I've used it for, I don't know, 10 or 12 or 15 years, and it's still with me. All right. So without further ado, let's get to the painting. What I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with a bigger brush. You know, okay. I'm checking my stuff over here and making sure my color wheel is where I want it. All right, so let's get started. Now I'm going to start with, you know, laying in a few middle value colors. And then I'm going to come in with as quickly as possible with my dark values so I can begin to establish where my centers of interest are going to be. And I've got a water bottle here, just water, that's it. You know, no other mediums or anything in it. I use the water bottle. You know, I don't typically dunk my brushes in the water because once you put these natural bristle brushes in the water, they don't spring back. So I don't like having these wet. So I use a water bottle to spray the surface to help move the paint about on the surface better. Okay. All right, I can already see that I'm probably going to want to put a dark value here. So I'm going to use my indigo for that. Oh yeah, look at that. And I can redefine some of that a little bit later on. also think I may come in here. Let's see what happens here. That might be a little too, may end up being a little too much like the other one in terms of its shape, but we'll work on that. Good. All right. Let's go ahead and eat into the little bit of that dark value there. Lighten that blue up so it's not so much like this side. Do that here too. All right. Now I just want to start laying in some middle value. Now that I have my dark values in, well, as a matter of fact, let's do something else. Let's do something else. Let's think about this for a moment. If I want to use some yellow-green as an accent color, and I want to have that close to these dark value areas, then maybe I would want to start to put some of that in now. So I'll put in a little yellow-green, and I can, you know, I'll mess with this again later. But I'll put a little bit of it in now. Just as a sort of a marker to say, hey, don't paint over these areas. All right. All right, so I'm going to get a little white right here while I'm thinking about it, while I'm in here. Going to get a little white and put in here and just sort of mix this color in a little bit, transition this green. As you remember, I said I'm going to use a lot of white on this painting, so, and a lot of it's probably going to go right here. Blend these edges as I go, blend the edges. Some of this I would want a harder edge. Some of it maybe not. So I can blend some of this in as I go. All right. Awesome. A little more white in here. I can do a little bit of scraping here, although the paint's a little bit thin right now. All right, we've got a good start on this thing. I'm really excited about what I got going on right now. I'm starting to develop my centers of interest, one here and one over here. And I've got the markers in there for my dark value and my accent color. I'm going to, on the next video, I'm going to start to fill out the rest of the sheet, the rest of the canvas with middle value color, middle to light value color, and then we're going to see where it goes from there, okay? Hope this was helpful for you. If you like it, share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join me for a workshop. I got a link in the description for the workshops for next year, 2020, right? See you on the next video.